Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's Days of Our Lives, August 11, 2025. So we start off with Belle and Marlena. So they're coming back from the courthouse, and Belle is hopping mad because of how EJ betrayed her in the courthouse, bringing up their relationship and almost getting her recused from the case, right? So she's saying to her mom that, look, I am, I should have known better. I feel so gullible. You were right all along. A lot of you guys tried to warn me, but I didn't listen. And, I should have learned from Sammy's mistake. If Sammy was probably here, she would have been gloating in my face and she'd probably be telling me that, yeah, I warned you, you shouldn't have been involved with him. So Marlena said, Sammy wouldn't have done that. She would definitely be there for you and all that. And Belle find that hard to believe because knowing her sister, she know that her sister would rub it in her face and all of that. But she should have just learned from her mistakes and stepped away, not got involved with EJ. So she started to put that problem onto her mom, given everything she's going through. But her mom said, look, that's just one less burden to me. Like, I'm happy for this. And, it's just that I have to go do another session with him tomorrow. But again, it's all for Johnny at the end of the day to be vindicated from this case, right? So Belle said, it just makes me sick that I have to still be in the trial with him and, after everything. But it is what it is, right? So Marlena said that she's going for a walk. She asked her if she wanted to accompany her. So she said, no, she has to get, go over her notes and get an early night. But as expected, Belle goes off, probably to talk to EJ yet again. So there wasn't much to this scene with Chad and Kat more than on Friday's episode. She did kiss him while she was drowsy and everything. So she snapped out of it and she's apologizing for doing that and, putting him through more things. So, Chad just brush it off and she goes back to sleep, and that happens. They're out there seeing she's drowsy. She takes the medication, she gets some water, the antibiotics, because again she has contracted the strep infection from her sister, and it looks as if Chad has also gotten it because of his close interaction with them, right? So he tells Julie, because Julie's with the kids, so he tells Julie that he might have to just stay away for a bit because he doesn't want to infect the household, right? So again, Chad, I don't know why you even got yourself into all this mess. You know that deep down you really just want to be close to Cat, but look at it now that you are contracting an infection as well. So anyways, it seems as if Felicity is recovering. She's on the mend. She's resting because Kat is worried about how she's being, how she's doing with everything. So Chad said, everything is all right with her. He's just here to take care of her now, and she's just rested, and that was really it. Really, not much to this. So EJ is about to drown his sorrows because of what happened at the courthouse. Him losing his relationship with Belle and what Belle said to him in the courthouse about how he's dead to her, and she doesn't want to remember him and that their relationship is over and all that. So he smashes the glass, and Gwen comes in, and Gwen is like, what did the table do to you, and why is this a big mess and everything. So he said, it's just a lot going on. I'm fighting for my son's life and his freedom. So she said, do you need any ibuprofen? Maybe you need to go to hospital to get your finger checked. Seems as if it's broken. So I said, no, it's not broken, not at all. So anyways, he said that, it's just a lot going on. He wishes not to talk about it. She goes for some ibuprofen, and she said, I can't count how much time I've used ibuprofen, to deal with a lot of people in Salem because apparently I am the most universally hated person here, and all of that. So she leaves, and EJ said, oh, I definitely can relate, right? It would be definitely interesting to see these two come together as a couple. What do you guys think? So Belle comes over yet again to just tell EJ a piece of her mind. He wasn't expecting her to come over after what she said to him about him being dead to her. So she said, yeah, you still are, but I wanted to get something straight that if you pull any stuff like that in the courthouse again, I'll make a complaint with the State Bar Association. You are not going to mess around with my career, right? So anyways, he wanted to say some stuff and said that, look, he wanted to apologize, and he was doing it for the sake of Johnny, because she did ask him, like, did you send the state somebody from the state, the general attorney's office, to come and question me about my role in this case and if I'm actually acting in the right channels and, no impropriety and all that. So he said that no, he didn't even know that the person was sent there. If he had known, he wouldn't have put their relationship on display for everybody to know about. So she said, you can save it. You're always, you know, thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about how, your actions could hurt anybody else. And yes, you love Johnny, you want him to be free, but at the same time, I also feel as if you have a personal reason. You want to win and you don't want to lose, even if it's against the woman that you love. And honestly, you're like your father. Like, you're actually worse than him, because Stefano, he was just who he is. He had no apologies for who he is, but you just operated under a facade, and this is how you trick people. And it reminds me of Sammy. Like, she loves people through manipulation, and I'm just not like that. Like, I need a man that's gonna be honest, that's gonna be loving. And EJ said that, look, I was trying to be that for you, and I even, mended my relationship with my son. It's all because of you, and I don't want to lose our relationship. And she said, like, it's already gone, right? So he was asking her, like, why you come over here to berate me yet again? So she said, I came over here to make things straight and let you know that, look, after the trial, I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to see you again, right? So back to this whole mess, with Xander, Sarah, Gabby, and Brady, right? So Gabby and Xander get kicked out of the restaurant because of the whole thing, because Xander was about to swing at Brady, and Brady defended himself really well. They got kicked out. Gabby was able to get in there and pay the bill, but they're not welcome there because of that whole event. So Xander is still, recovering from, you know, all this alcohol. And Gabby said, maybe let's go somewhere else. He sees Brady and Sarah come out, because at this point everybody's looking at Brady and Sarah sitting down in the restaurant, and she's getting uncomfortable. She's lost her appetite, so they go out. And Brady said, look, like, I think we've heard a lot from you. And Xander said, look, I apologize for my behavior in there, and it won't happen again. Of course, they don't really believe it. And Brady said, look, I'm tired of dealing with your behavior. I mean, we're family and we have to work together, but like, this is just too much, right? So Sarah said, I need to talk to him by myself, right? So Brady said, if you need me, I'll be nearby. So Gabby also follows him as well. So at some point, Xander's apologizing, but Sarah don't want to hear it. Sarah said, look, this is it. Like, if you can't clean up your act, like, you won't see your daughter until she's getting married, and maybe not even then, right? You need to clean up your act, go see Molly, and do this anger management thing, or it's not gonna work out. Gabby also gave him a lecture, like, look, you're the CEO of a multinational company. Like, at the end of the day, like, you need to conduct yourself better. You can't be fighting people. People are witnessing the restaurant and seeing this going on. Like, you need to do better, right? And he agrees with that, all right. So while him and, Sarah is having this conversation in the square, Marlena comes up, and, she's saying, did you even talk to Marlena yet? So he said he hasn't had a chance to call her, and Marlena said no, too. And, she's upset because he didn't even contact her like, they agreed upon, right? Because that was a part of their custody arrangement, that he would get anger management lessons, right? She doesn't want to have Victoria around that kind of chaos, right? And given the recent event that happened, like, it's just not happening no more, right? So anyways, Marlena offers to see him, grab a coffee at the bistro, but because of what happened, he didn't go into detail, but because of the recent event, he's not welcome there. And, of course, Sarah is, rubbing it in like, yeah, recent event. So anyways, she said, let's grab a coffee at the University Hospital. You can come to my office. Let's talk further, right? So Sarah thanks her for taking him on, and, is hoping that things work out for the best. So Gabby and Birdie are talking, and Gabby apologizes for her part in the whole thing, and Birdie asks her, like, why would you kiss Xander? And she said, why do we even kiss anybody? Like, maybe it's the wine, maybe it's just the vibes, whatever. So anyways, he said he's just used to Xander and his tantrums and all of that. And she said, you know what, let me buy you something. So he said, Sarah didn't have an appetite, and, I was just going to grab something to go. So she offers to pay for the whole thing, whatever he wants. So he's sold on that. So they sit down and, they share milkshake, fries. And they begin to talk about Xander and everything. And, Brady's saying to Gabby, stay away from Xander. So she's saying, why? So he said, because of his behavior, his tantrums, he has a lot of anger issues. And, he tends to hurt people that are around him. So I wouldn't want to see you stuck into that, right? So they start talking about the company and if Xander is really good for the company, and he's saying, I don't know, like, it seems to be on the up and up, but their relationship between Philip and Xander is questionable. They don't seem to be, seeing eye to eye, and then my company is enwrapped into it. Honestly, like, if I could take my company and run, I would have done it long time. And then my father started this company from the ground up, and I just want to make him proud. I don't feel like I'm doing that, dealing with these people and all that. So she said, look, your father would be definitely proud. You held it down, and you're just like him in a lot of ways. You're there for your friends and family, you're loyal, and he would be proud of you. So they talk about John's legacy and how he always wanted to save the world. How he's always there, and he had a lot on his back to really take care of his family and all that. And Brady talks about standing up to the bully. I guess the bully is tight in the mirror, and how John never batted an eye. He always stood up for himself. So that's what he's really trying to accomplish, right? So Xander is at Marlena's office, and they begin to start talking about his issues. And she sensed a sense of reluctance from him, and it's just that he is scared about being vulnerable and really putting out some stuff that might be too much. So he's surprised that she took him on as client, given that he hurt her in the past. She said that she's dealt with people that has caused her harm. At the end of the day, she's just doing her job. And he said that, look, I'm probably hopeless. So she doesn't believe that. So she said, with proper treatment, maybe, you will definitely, have custody rights to your daughter and all that, because at the end of the day, that's who you're doing it for, right? So they begin to talk, and Xander has this pitiful victim face on, and hopefully he can definitely get some help, because I'm a big Xander fan, as you all know. But I do think he needs a little help with curbing his anger, because what he did at the restaurant was just, uncalled for, was distasteful. And, I'm not a big fan of Sarah, but he didn't have to do her like that. So while Sarah was in the square, she runs into Gwen, and of course she doesn't want to deal with her right now. It's been a lot. So she said, what do you go by now? Dr. Sarah Kyriakis, or your maiden name? So she's saying, I heard that you guys are broken up, and I was just relishing the fact that that is over. He always was better off with me. So she said, I saw him with Gabby earlier and they were kissing. So what do you mean that you guys are back together? So she said, I don't know what's really going on between them, but I know for sure me and Xander are on the up and up, and we're gonna do what we're gonna do. And Leo and Javi saw us the other day at the hotel, and it was a wonderful night, passionate night. And Sarah saying, I can't imagine Xander would be that desperate to be back with you of all people. But Gwen is just rubbing it in, even though nothing happened. She's rubbing it in Sarah's face. Sarah's getting annoyed with that. So Gwen leaves, and I'm saying, Gwen, must you be that desperate and pitiful? And it's just so obvious, right? But anyways, I mean, I was here for the little scene, her getting under Sarah's neck, on the Sarah's nerves, because, like, sometimes Sarah needs a little bit of that, right? So anyways, guys, that is it for today's episode. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to my channel. Comment below your thoughts. I will see you guys tomorrow.